nhớ trong sống cái tên là bây giờ là một lối đồng xem đầu tao lần chi này nhớ trong nó thì nhớ trong nó của cho bây giờ là một sai cho trong đời lâu ấy lúc công sinh của giải ven khoa tên giờ cho trong đời tuân thời trong tụ tàu một xỉa nhớ trong lúc tết chờ mẹ hù tàu hai điểm Colombia nó thiết trong đời nó chế tin anh của giờ sinh trong nó nhớ trong họ luôn trong vuốt về cho họ lúc sáng mình sổ ta hay cho trong đời lúc event công sinh nó cũng mong đâu tụ trồng bê trồng ở hử tôi một cổng là giải then thiết trong đời trồng nọ trồng sứ sẽ hay mong là một trò đời cho nọ chứ America nhớ cho lúc sáng mình sổ ta nó giờ lên đời lúc xưa nó tuần gì một là giá tỏn đê cú cho nên sẽ đời bê sẽ đời một sai cho trong đời trồng cứ tin rằng sao mong tôi một cổng là giải then sẽ tôi chống bỏ đi trả thì là của lo thế rồng bỏ đi trả cho trồng nọ trồng sứ nó nhớ trồng họ lúc sáng mình sổ ta nó
Once upon a time, there is a little small boy named Txog. Tonight, I have the privilege to be here as his first cousin, but also as MC for this memorable evening. I would like to introduce to you my co-MC, which I have the privilege to know for a long time. Kayenya is the president of Red Green River in Kenya and community. With over 2 decades of as a dedicated social justice advocate, as an entrepreneur. Right, Txog would laugh at me if he was here. Promoting artists globally in Kenya and community, a non-profit consultant business. Her commitment earned her many recognitions and invitations to serve as a keynote speaker at major events. She was the recipient of the 2019 Bush Foundation Fellowship, and in 2022, she was appointed to President Biden's Advisory Commission on Asian American, Native American, and Pacific Islander. Help me welcome my co-MC tonight, Kayenya.
Thank you. Welcome all to the vigil to remember Txog, our community champion. It is so moving to see so many gathered here today to embrace the Xyooj family and each other as we reflect on the many ways that our beloved Txog has transformed our lives, to honor his legacy and the qualities that make him so extraordinary. I'm also very honored to co-MC this event with my Vu, who is Txog's first cousin and a real estate broker with my new realty. He's also a community leader and political activist. At this time, we would like to take a moment of silence to remember Txog for 30 seconds. Please turn off all your phones.
Thank you.
Sometime in the evening of December 10th or the early morning of December 11th, our friend Txog was kidnapped and brutally killed. His death is still a part of an active investigation.
sunshine with your smile. Bring me laughter. Oh, in this world where we live, there should be more happiness. So much you can give to each brand new bright tomorrow. Make me happy through the years. Never bring me any tears. Let your arms be as wide as the sun from up above. Bring me sunshine, bring me love, bring me sunshine through the years. Never bring me any tears. Let your arms be as wide as the sun from up above. Bring me sunshine, bring me comfort, and me love. Bring me sunshine in your smile. Bring me laughter. Oh, let your arms be as warm as the sun from up.
There face my mom, and she has a few words to say. You gotta remember.
Cũng đi đâu tới đây là đó, đi nhẹ cũng đây rồi phải luôn, cũng đi chơi xong, bây giờ không xong cha mẹ không xong, lúc nào cũng đâu xe rồi bây giờ cái đi năng cha mẹ cả, sau đó ba cụ đâu xe sang xe rồi tụi nào cũng đâu xe rồi. Vì để chúng ta chỉ là cầu này, ta chỉ chúng ta cũng ba người nhỏ nhỏ ba này đó, để chúng ta chỉ để hạt cái củ, bây giờ ấy từ nhà, củ lúc giờ này, đây đủ nó cho các cái hậu tế to, chỉ hai tụ lò là tụ to, tôi nhau lúc tổ chức là làm thọ, để củ rau xe hàng ngày sẽ đủ đang đủ cho, củ tụ cho củ chè đó, củ sa để này chỉ cho, củ tụ rồi củ nhiều lò. Nhưng lúc hai mẫu tu chi tu chùa để cho bác đi vào của tụi nhiều tôi ở thì để tiền cho nó mà tu cho nên cho cầu hộ dấu nó lúc của bác cũng cho chỗ này cho sao cũng nữa quân đi chơi nó mà cho tôi lúc trên đâu và tôi sai tốt không cứ giải tư và tôi giải tư nên bác cũng chúng tôi như bác nên trở nên bác cũng nơi để cũng có thể cho ta nó mong là gì cả cái đúng là số là nhà là cả tu nhà cũng như tu giờ hiện tu cái gì tu giờ này tu na u yêu cái gì do mong đợi nhưng lòng ta này u dòng xe để được qua được này nó lòng chỉ tu xe để một lòng u dòng xe.
Thank you all for joining us today. As we remember and celebrate the life of our beloved brother Tsheej, to all the organizers, volunteers, we want to express our sincere gratitude for your invaluable support, hard work, and the long hours you dedicate to guiding our family in our time of need. We are truly grateful for the love and the compassion you have shown. Thank you for standing by us, for being a source of comfort. Tôi chỉ sang đi chọn bên mình sẽ sai cả bên trong này. The family wants to express our deep gratitude to our two senators' office for their invaluable assistance in repatriating my brother's body from Colombia. Senator Koob, the swift and compassionate support from your office meant the world to our family. So thank you. We have a saying in our culture, one Ntxawg, Neej Sanin Txog, Sakin Sati, Sapung Sayu, Don Home Bafu, Betu Kutunza, No Ham Runchi, Neej Sasape, Jinin Roche, Yane Sasape, Pejin Huyon, Yon Jong Zero. Txog lived with passion and purpose. Whether he was sharing stories, lending a helping hand, or standing up for what he believed in, he did it wholeheartedly and proudly. His commitment to the community and justice was an inspiration to us all. As I was trying to write a farewell message to my brother the other night, I came across a refreshing piece that he wrote that I had never seen before. It was as if Txog knew there could be a moment when he had to go before he could say all he wanted to. It touched me deeply. And I wanted to share it with all of you, because these are Txog's words to all of us. A reflection by Txog, May 1st, 2020. To the universe and creator, I offer this poem. What if it was me, taking those last breaths in the dark hospital room, alone, with nothing but the beeping sound of the ventilator? Dare I say all that I have to say? Dare I make peace with the world? Every horror movie I have ever watched, Jason and Freddy, The Boogeyman, Heights, Spiders, and all the childhood phobias I can think of, combined, do not compare to the fear of dying alone, away from family, with unfinished business and unspoken words. The other day, I had a good normal cry with a trusted confidant, a family member, a storyteller, and spoke words of love into existence. Should my breath escape me someday? To those who have poured love, nourishment, and kindness into me, including teachers, mentors, coaches, and every non-family adult who has lifted me up along the way, I thank you, and I hope I did you proud. To the fellows in my closest circles who saw me at my goofiest and heard my loudest laughs, left arm, fish on, and cheers if I inspire possible. I will take a seat at the friendly poker table for you. Just don't love Jesus, he can read your poker face. To the girls whom I had the sweet privilege of falling in love with, from my junior high crush to my prom date, to my Disney girlfriend, and my most recent and now former partner, I thank you. I have loved every bit of my journey with you. Yes, especially the tears, because you make my time here as humanly as it can possibly be. Falling in love with you ladies were the sweetest chapters in my book of life. Your eyes, smiles, lips, and sweet loving drive my concept of time, turning years into minutes and froze moments into eternity for me. Every love song was much deeper. Every hug was much passionate. You went from sunshine to a hurricane in a matter of minutes. Love was, and still is, a wonderful thing. To my brothers and sisters, we are leaves, branches, fruits on the same tree. You know me best. With no words, you felt my pain and my joys, especially my sisters. My brothers, we were strong on earth. We were something strong on earth, but we'll be eight again in heaven. As siblings, we have weathered every storm in every season, including a war, poverty, and a refugee camp. And yet, continue to blossom. I remain strong because you all are my giving tree. To mom and dad, how blessed I am to be called a son. To have eyes, nose, and hair that look like you. To have witnessed life through your stories and lessons. To ride on your backs as you walk up and down mountains. To hear your translation of the water buffalo song. To hear you speak to nature through the blowing of a leaf. To learn the language of the birds and insects. To hear long folk tales of tigers and dragons. To have eaten food from your hands as a little bird would from her mother. And to have been protected in your bosom in my darkest hours was the greatest honor of my life. Thọ cảm ơn từ bây giờ ai yêu đó, when it goes into wrong. To my spiritual children, whom I have taught, entertained, and did my best to pass on goodness and hope. Continue to believe in yourselves, bet on yourself, because you are the ones you've been waiting for. Continue to speak up for those who are voiceless. Continue to fight for justice. Bring light into the world. Never give in to bitterness, fear, or hate. Be kind to each other, and be kind to Mother Earth, and she will be good to you. Smile when you think of me, for I'm smiling because I thought of you. With that, thank you for coming. As we remember Tsheej tonight, let us remember and reflect on many of our friends and families and colleagues who have also left us. Let's carry forward the best of Tsheej within us, his laughter, his kindness, and his unwavering spirit. In our hearts, he will live on, a constant reminder of the beauty of a life well lived and worth living. Rest in peace to the brother. You will be dearly missed.
Nice communities. We were Txawg's people, his community. He rallied for us, ignited social movements, coordinated healing events during the height of COVID to make sure that our communities stayed informed, and so we can celebrate our new year virtually. How blessed we were that Ntxawg was baby Tutu. Even though it pains me to talk about Tsheej in the past tense, and I find it difficult to shake the ache of knowing the evils in this world that he faced. I know he would be so proud to see us here together in his honor. My husband and I were blessed to have many wonderful memories of Tsheej over the years. To the world, Tsheej was the life of a party. His light shined so bright, people gravitated towards him everywhere he went. In the public eye, that was what he was seen. But behind closed doors, he was all that and more. In 2016, my husband and I unexpectedly lost our father. My father-in-law had suffered from a stroke and passed away. My husband Chai was grief-stricken, and Tsheej knew this. As the oldest son and daughter-in-law, we were in over our heads with funeral preparations, and Tsheej saw our pain. In December, Our 6 siblings came into town for the funeral, and Tsheej invited all of us over to his house. He wanted to give us a break so that we could step away from the funeral preparations. And we went over to his house and he prepared dinner for us. We sang and we karaoke'd while he mixed drinks for us. Tsheej was a wonderful host and he loved mixing drinks for company. At the end of the night, after we shared our griefs, and he offered his advice and insights after he has lost his own father, he wanted to bring even more joy to our family. He went upstairs to his room to change into his Santa Claus outfit, and he came downstairs with silver bells ringing. And our children were thrilled. They thought Santa had come. And they each sat on Txog's lap and told Santa too what they wanted. That's what Tsheej did. He made us believe in a better tomorrow. In our time of immense grief, Tsheej gave his full self. Because he loved us. He loved all of us. Tsheej once said about his parents that the sacrifice that they had made could never be repaid. Today, as we honor Tsheej, I say to Tsheej, Tunza, Kalunzianchi, Beyo Bangjiba. Karaoke nights, concerts, or community events will never be the same. No matter how much we look for you, you will no longer be there for us to find.
Represent Woodbury. We've got Commissioner Michelle Clausen, Washington County Commissioner, Senator Nicole Mitchell, and Representative Ntxawg. While I have never had the privilege of meeting Tsheej, the Jean family asked that I would say a few words today, and I hope to provide some comfort and support and a little information about his life in Woodbury during this time of such deep sadness and heartbreak. My heart goes out to all of you, but especially to his mother. We mothers hold a very common and a very special bond in our hearts for the eternal love of our children, and I'm so sorry for your loss. I would like to speak to Tsheej's connection to the Woodbury community. Although he did spend his early years in St. Paul, he moved to Woodbury around 1998 and has lived in his home on Ashford Road, just about a half a mile from here, since that time. In addition, his sister works here at Eastridge High School, and his brother A spent time working as a reserve officer for Woodbury's Public Safety Department. I've learned more about Tsheej from his life and the people who are close to him. With his larger-than-life personality and as a Hmong community and refugee activist, he became a voice for those that felt invisible, who might have been shy or introverted, and were trying to assimilate into a new culture. He showed them how to live life out loud and embrace it. His message was, I see you and I am here for you. With his example of choosing to move to Woodbury, I believe he probably brought many others from the Hmong community, which has made the city much richer and more culturally vibrant. When Tsheej moved here 25 years ago, Woodbury's diverse population was just in the teens. He found a welcoming and a warm environment amongst the neighbors as he shared things like 4th of July picnics, interactions at the mailbox as we do in Minnesota, and even the sharing of a barbecue grill. Now, Woodbury is nearly 30% diverse, and even more important than that, our youth, 18 and under, represent 40% diversity. Woodbury has Hmong representation on our police force with a sworn officer, and another fine example of his impact on activism is that of his childhood friend and fellow refugee in Txog.
Before I became state representative in Txog, I had a representative too. His name was Txog. He gave me visibility, courage. He was a pathfinder, a pioneer, and a champion for my generation. Amber has covered some stuff in English, so I'm going to speak in my native tongue. Nhân rộng đến cái gì? Cô kêu cô nói cô hay cho nên giờ thì hiện tiệm để tuân dạy từ cô hiểu từ cái gì? Cô chỉ cần gì? Bây giờ bà bây giờ nó tuổi trẻ nó cũng bỏ cái tăng thọ của rồi mà nó để bỏ này để tìm. Bây giờ đó đó tuân dạy lo. Cô một lúc xưa một cái courage lo ấy tôi nói chuyện cả cái đầu tiên với bề. Giờ thì một tuân dạy không. Giờ thì giả phải trong này. Thầu bây giờ đó có ba hầu tuân dạy trong giờ tụi tàu thơ được bây giờ tụi lo. Tuân dạy với xuống đi Thái bây giờ chỉ sang của miền Đông, như state of Minnesota, tỉnh của California. Bây muốn chọn tiền là chỉ có một cái tiền, thì chỉ là đó tiền tuân dạy trong miền Đông. Để bây giờ tuân dạy, cái tuân dạy nó cũng trong đấy đi Thái bây tân thọ. Từ miền Đông thì cũng được tuân dạy có của kẻ. Giờ thì mọi người xuống, như cho kẻ luôn. Cho nên cho thầy có hiện tàu thân ở bên cạnh tàu đoàn. Giờ đây nó tôi có lý của tôi nhớ tới hình cảm ở chuyện sao mong của tôi nhận mong. Thì chỉ tôi dẫn giờ bên tôi mong chỉ sao mong của mong. Hỏi nói như là legacy. Vì như lúc vẫn xịu, cho nên cho cái lúc với tôi nhận mong. Bé kiểu nhận mong nó tới hình cảm. Thì more courage. Thì more lúc bằng xịu là một năm một chiều là representing. Tuân dạy nhóm của district có cái khả năng cho mà chưa lo choผู้ชายđược trong tiền nó của giáo sư hay thì thông tin nhà tuân dạy represent thì chỉ nói nó của nhà tuân dạy của state represent ấy nói nó của tu sĩ hay thì ý tôi nói lúc cũ bom bả trong cũ xong nó你有知道帮爸的苦，你这样的诗一路说，都是能够谈到我们有功，还有呢，古早的不多，蹲着的不多，我讲。
Bonjour, Peggy Flanagan, Indigenous Cause, Gishi Wewe Damokwe, Indigo. Wabaga, Ganika, Ntxawg, My name is Peggy Flanagan. I'm a member of the White Earth Nation. My real name, or my spirit name, is Speaks with a Clear and Loud Voice Woman. I'm a member of the White Earth Nation, and my family is the Wolf Clan. And the role of the Wolf Clan is to not leave anyone behind, and to make sure that everyone belongs. And that's something that we have in common with Xyooj. On behalf of the people of Minnesota, and on behalf of Governor Walz and myself, let me express the deepest of sympathies to the family and friends of Xyooj. We are with you. Thank you for allowing me a moment to speak to you. Xyooj was a beloved member of the community, a leader, and his loss is felt by all those who knew him, but also those who simply knew of him because of his reputation in Minnesota, but also across the country. I've had the privilege to meet him and to learn firsthand about his kindness and compassion and humor as an artist, social activist, and a storyteller. And the first time I met him, I was blown away. I just thought, like, how does this guy have so much energy and personality? And anytime he came into a space, you knew that he was there. He's the epitome of a Minnesotan, and what it means to be a guiding North Star. Having moved and grown up here with his family and with the community, he embodied all of the rich flavors of artistry that make Minnesota unique, and turned all of that strength into action for social justice by connecting with so many other people who had similar struggles and similar stories. He used his humor and emotions to talk about life lessons and wisdom, and even hard topics that people were experiencing, like racism and poverty, and challenges to acculturation. And for many of us, so in the Native community, humor is the only way that we have learned how to survive. And he embodied that. Not only that, he was instrumental in leading Hmong Day at the Minnesota State Fair, which opened up opportunities for the Hmong community for arts and talents to be shared at the Minnesota State Fair every single year. Tsheej's memories and commitment for advocating for the rights of others have left a lasting legacy that will continue to inspire all of us and future generations to come. In the midst of the darkness, his spirit continues to shine brightly in the hearts of everyone here who knew him and loved him, and his ability to move seamlessly through philanthropy, through politics, through media, through the artistic community, was really something to be marveled at. And it told me, and it taught me, how much representation matters. So many folks that I've talked to about Tsheej have mentioned what it meant to see Go Hmong Boy, or what it meant to see when he dressed up like Santa Claus, and what it meant to see him in places where not enough members of the community have been. And he cleared a path for so many. So let us carry forward the values that he stood for through his work in the community, through positive changes for justice and for equity, through our laughter, through compassion that he shared so widely with people. I am deeply, deeply familiar with grief and with loss. And so in these moments, I know that there are no words to ease the pain or to fill the void that he has left. But please know that I am with you, that I will help you and the governor will help to carry some of this grief as you work to heal. And I lost my mother just a year ago. And I promise you that she shows up all the time. And so I hope that you feel Tsheej in the laughter of a child, in a memory, in stories that are shared, and that he remains everywhere for you. So thank you so much for sharing him with all of us. You're better for it. And just know that Governor Walz and I send our deepest sympathies to the community, and will continue to share stories of Tsheej, because that is our goal, to continue to ensure that people know him, know what he stood for, and that laughter continues into the future that he brought to so.
I just look at these beautiful photos, and you think about the life that Tsheej brought to all of us. And Senator Smith and I got that call when we found out that he was no longer with us to help bring his body back. And the whole time as we were working on that, I just kept thinking about the life that would never be extinguished. I know Tsheej's mom, I got to just speak with her. I know that in her remarks, she talked about the fact that she may have been the one that brought him into the world, but then he became all of ours. And listening to the beautiful tributes from his brother, from his relatives, it was just an incredible thing to think about all he brought, not just to the greater world, which is how we see him, many of us, and to our nation, but also to his family. He was so many things to so many people. An artist, a storyteller, and a pillar of the Hmong American community nationally, who put uplifting others above all else. I'm reminded of that speech he gave when he was accepting the 2015 Hmong National Development Impact Award. He talked about how his mother inspired him, and he recounted something she used to say to him when he was little. All the money in the world cannot replace the ideas and the passion in your belly. Those words of wisdom became his touchstone throughout his life. Every incredible thing he did, from his incredible comedy work to getting the nation's first Hmong American elected to a state legislature in the country, was possible not because he was well connected, not because he was born into money, but no, his parents were refugees, and he grew up in public housing in St. Paul. Rather, it was because of his mind, which was so full of ideas, his heart that was so full of passion, his soul so driven by a desire to do right by fellow human beings. Guided by that passion, he made the most of his tragically short time on earth. Anyone who has been to Hmong Minnesota Day at the Minnesota State Fair can thank him. Anyone who volunteered on that first campaign for Limua, that moment where she took the stage and the world was watching, can thank him. And anyone who learned about Hmong history and culture from videos of a guy rapping in a Dr. Seuss hat can thank him. His impact will be felt for generations to come. And I want to leave you with some of the words of one of Txog's many friends, Laura Yu, who wrote a beautiful tribute to him in the newspaper. She said this: his murder is an affront to everything he stood for: exuberance, justice, and contagious joy. The warmth he gave and how carelessly his killers snuffed it out is what makes his death so jarring to accept. We know that, but today we gather to talk about that joy and what he will always be remembered for, and the torch he has given all of us to pass on to that next generation of Hmong Americans. Though today we mourn, and our state will never be the same without him, it is not the cruelty and tragedy of his passing that we remember, but instead his exuberance, his warmth, the passion in the belly, as Mom referred to, that will live on. It is fitting, when he was such a young poet and organizer, that I end with the words of the youngest inaugural poet ever in the history of America. That would be Amanda Gorman, who gave that beautiful quote at the president's inauguration, the poem in her bright yellow coat. And she said this: "We must find light in the never-ending shade." That's what Txog was about. He was light in the never-ending shade, and no one is ever going to take that away from you.
Good evening. 25 years ago, I was a young person learning what in the African and African American culture is called the tradition of the griot. The tradition of the griot is a storyteller. It's the culture keeper. It's as a largely oral community through history. It's how history, lessons, and values are passed down through generations to generations. And along with the children of our Attorney General, who's here, Keith Ellison, we would learn this art through a nonprofit nonprofit organization called Arts Us. And again, about 25 years ago, I walked into, I think it was the auditorium at Central High School. And you all knew Txawg. He was a superstar. He was a celebrity. Whether you knew who he was or not, he just carried himself like this, like he walked into the room and you go, I don't know him, but I feel like I should watch him. Because his personality was bigger than life. His smile was permanent, and he always looked like something was about to happen. And I remember my first time seeing his Go Monk Boy, Go Monk Boy, Go rap. And his performance, we would end up performing kind of side by side with one another. And it didn't take really long for us to learn how much we had in common and how much our communities had in common. You watch one show of his, and you know some basic history of our Hmong community. You know Neej is Hmong for hello. You know Be is Hmong for 1, 2, 3. And in Txawg words, you knew Tsheej meant, y'all come back now, you hear? And he would challenge you, and I heard somebody talk about that toilet story earlier. But the notion of, as a child, having to discover that you can go to the bathroom inside, and just how disorienting that must have been. I think those stories really were bricks that Txawg used to build bridges. And he connected so many people through this community to our own community, to understanding our own community even better. More importantly than that, he gave our young Hmong brothers and sisters a role model, a hero, a celebrity to look up to. I have to tell you, it's still very hard for me to accept any of this, for me to even admit any of this, let alone believe that it's real. We were talking earlier about just how profoundly unfair it seems for someone who gave us so much life, so much joy, so much happiness, so much laughter, to be taken from us so cruelly, in a way that so greatly clashes with who he was. If he could be here, he would tell us a joke about it. If he could be here, he'd make us laugh. And I have to admit to you, as hard as I try to acknowledge this moment as a celebration of a life incredibly well lived, I have to admit a profound sense of anger, a profound sense of unfairness, a profound sense of injustice for someone who fought for justice, for someone who fought for humanity, for someone who shared joy literally every single place that he went. I have to try to channel him, his optimism. You know, it's not a surprise that someone who was as brilliant as Txawg, someone who was as masterful a communicator as Txawg, someone as gentle as he always was, someone who could take humor and use it to just sort of ease the way through some of the toughest conversations in some of the toughest moments, it's no surprise that he ended up being the incredible major community leader that he was. It's no surprise that he left the mentors, the mentees, and the younger cousins and community cousins, and just people like me who consider myself a little brother to him. It's no surprise that his reach goes so far beyond the Hmong community, so far beyond the African American community, to every community. I was telling somebody before, there's a number of times where Tsheej, he would walk in the room with a costume on, whether it was a costume party or not. He'd just show up with a costume. And if there was a microphone anywhere in the near vicinity, he'd be on it. And he and I got a chance to, he was one of these people who just make you do things that you wouldn't otherwise do. I'm the mayor, so I'm supposed to be sophisticated in things. And somehow he and I would end up dancing on the stage at the little Mekong night market, or end up doing karaoke at some bar somewhere, doing ridiculous songs. And that's another piece about him, is, I think this is one of the amazing things about Tsheej. It's a simple little anecdote, but he stood up on stage to sing karaoke. You didn't know if it was going to be an 80s love ballad, a rap song, or a country western standard. Because he just connected to literally every single person. And there are people like that who, in defying the box that he's supposed to live in defying the shell that he's supposed to stay within, give us all freedom to extend beyond our comfort zones, to extend beyond our previously held definition of who we were, who we are, and who we're supposed to be. There's a poem that many of you have heard already that I've been reflecting on over the last week or so that just reminds me of him, and I'll leave you with that. It's Our Greatest Fear by Merriam-Webster. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. 25 years ago, Tsheej and I were telling stories about liberation. He was talking about crossing the Mekong River. In our African American community, we have a lot of stories and lore that talk about crossing the river to freedom as well. And it's incredible as I read that poem and go to see the extent to which I realized he wasn't just talking about liberation in the past. Tsheej was someone who lived his life in a way that gave us, taught us, inspired us to be liberated individuals and fill our full lives. And so I say goodbye to my big brother. But I carry with me that light that he inspired in all of us. So, Tsheej.
Nhất từ mấy nhóm sọ của Berry, tôi sang nhóm tàu của Berry đông đại của sông này. And giờ từ mayor to Asia của Chúa, vì nhóm tàu của sông tôi luôn rõ của Berry cha tháo chân sẽ là tàu dài em và chẳng có hành động.
Good evening.